going to practice with our viewfinder today and how to use it to make perfect proportions with our grid assist, making another little kawaii character, and this is a milk carton. So go ahead and open up your sketchbooks to your drawing of your milk glass, and we are going to be right beside it making a milk carton. So we're going to start by using our grid assist. We are going to put it down next to our milk carton and use our pencil. We're going to trace that grid assist. Oops, got a little carried away. Mrs. Thomas. Okay, we're going to extend the grid lines out. And we're going to use our viewfinder, the nice straight edge on our viewfinder, to connect the little extensions, the little tick marks, so that we make a grid that is exactly the same size and shape and proportion as our original. Now let's see if I can do this. Can I do this? Nope, I can't do that. Oh, yes I can. Okay, so I am going to put my new drawing, my new little example, my milk carton down, and then put my, I might have to do this, guys. Maybe this is going to be easier. If I align it so that it is perfectly aligned and then tape it, is that going to help? Yes. Okay, now I can put it down. Still struggling. There we go. I'm just going to tape my grid down to my paper, so it's just a little bit easier to see, and I don't have to worry about it shifting. Now that's just temporary, so I don't have to worry about it being super tight. And I'll zoom in so that you can see what I'm doing. All right, now I'm gonna go ahead and number my grid. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Remember, all of these lines are going to be erased. So if you can write those numbers nice and light, 12, then it'll be easy to erase them. Just like before, the grid that I drew using my grid assist is the exact same grid on my viewfinder, and that's going to help me break down my drawing and get perfect proportions. So let's start at the top. Right up here on our profile, we're going to follow our profile line around first. So up here at the top left is the corner of my milk carton. I'm going to follow it until it crosses the grid. And it crosses between the 1 and the 2 box. And I can see my middle ticks. Ooh, I forgot to put those in. Let's go ahead and put those in. So I'm going to make middle tick marks between halfway down, halfway across on each of these squares. So let's do the halfway down first. Halfway from the top corner of the 1 to the bottom corner of the 1 is about there. And I'm going to come across, halfway down, halfway down, halfway down. And I'll do this for all of my squares, all of my boxes. Halfway between this corner and this corner is here. Halfway between this corner and this corner is here. Now, if you notice that you're way off, go ahead and take a minute and correct it. It'll just make it easier later. I'm also going to do my middle ticks for each box the other direction. So between this corner and this corner, the halfway mark is about there. Follow it down. There we go. Okay, that's going to help us a lot because it actually breaks down each square even more. So we are going to follow the profile line as it crosses between the 1 and the 2 box. And it looks like this profile line crosses about halfway between the top of my top right corner of my 1 box and the tick mark. So there's the top right corner of my 1 box, and there's the tick mark, and that's where it crosses. It comes all the way across the 2 box and partly into the 3 box. All the way across, partway into the 3 box. Now it comes over and it does this little jiggity jag. This can be a little bit confusing, so I'm going to come back to it. I'm going to go where the profile line crosses the grid. So it crosses the grid between the 3 and the 6 boxes. It crosses, oh my goodness, look, right at the halfway, right at my tick mark. So right here is where it crosses the grid line. And it comes straight down through the 6 box, straight down through the 9 box, and almost all the way down through the 12. Straight down through those tick marks. See, I can see the tick marks. Here it comes. And almost down to the bottom. I'm going to leave that for a minute and see when it turns, it crosses my grid, and it looks like it's just about halfway between the bottom box and the tick mark. So between the bottom of the box and the tick mark, here's halfway, and it comes across. It goes all the way through that 11 box and into the 10 box. I'm not sure how far. I see that it turns and it goes up and it crosses between the 10 and the 7 box. It crosses right at the tick mark, which is right here. So now I can follow that down and maybe extend that over if I need to. It goes all the way up through the 7 and the 4, and it stops right at the intersection of the 4 and the 1. All right, so it goes all the way up and it stops at the intersection of the 4 and the 1. Now I can see that it's going to angle up to the right and then go straight up. So I'm going to angle up to the right and then go straight up. I'm going to do the same on this side. Right at the intersection here, I'm going to angle up opposite, so it goes up to the left and then straight up. So fabulous, that's my profile, and now I can get all of the details on the inside. So there is a line that is going straight across right on the grid line, separating my first row from my second row of grids. I can just do, that's going to be right where that line is. This line that separates the top of the milk from that slanted part of the milk carton is right in here. I can put in this wiggly line. It is going to be almost at the tick marks in the, not the bottom row, but the second row. So this is my bottom row, this is my second row, so this is my 7, 8, 8, 9, 9. Okay, so it's going to be right in the middle here. And if you want to get really careful with that line, you can give yourself a little tick, show where it curves, crossing the 7, 8 grid, and then where it curves, crossing the 8, 9, and then where it ends. It's up to you as to how careful you want to be and how exact you want to be. Now, if that's not exactly how it is on the original and you want to go ahead and change it, now's a great time to do that. You can make those changes now much easier because we're only working in pencil now. And if you were smart to draw really lightly, then it's easy to erase. We can put in our little circles down here. Here's a pretty big one. It's mostly in the 11 and 12, but it crosses over into the 8 and the 9 box. So I'm going to give myself a little line where it crosses over and a little line where the bottom of it is. I can see where my tick mark is, and it's above my tick mark. And then kind of give myself that circle. Same thing with this circle. Look at that. It is just a little bit above into the 8 box, mostly in the 11 box, and the tick mark is right in the middle. So I'm going to give myself 2 little lines indicating where it crosses the grid, and then give myself a circle. There's another one over here that crosses between the 10 and the 11 box, just above the tick mark. So just above the tick mark. And there we go. There's another one here. It's just off of the corner in the 7 box. One over here in the 8 box. And the last one is down here in the 11 box. Now, even though these circles, the exact sizes and locations, doesn't really matter if it's perfect or not, if you try to get close, then this is just practice for when we get more complicated drawings. So the more that you can practice, the easier those are going to be later on. Let's see where the eyes are. So in the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, in the 6 box, over here, my 6 box, I see the eye. It is barely crossing the line right at the tick mark. And it's kind of an oval. So something kind of like that. And then there's a little circle inside of it. That's kind of the highlight of his eyes. And then over on the other side, exactly opposite, just crossing over, just crossing the 4, 5 grid line. I have another one. And don't worry if your first line isn't perfect. That's okay. Go ahead and erase it. Make an adjustment. I make lots of lines that are wrong before I get to the right one. Now let's see, let's put in that mouth. I can see that it is square in the middle of my 5 box. It is up a little ways, and it curves up in either direction like that. And then my tongue actually sticks out and crosses into my 8 box. And I have my little cheek blushes crossing over my grid here, and another one over here. Well done. If you need to make any adjustments or changes, now's the perfect time to do it. If you feel confident, like everything's in the right place, we can go ahead and use our craft calligraphy brush pens. And I'm going to be using my medium and my small. I'm going to use the medium to outline my profile. And just so that I can practice a little bit, I'm going to drag it and do some heavier weight. So I'm lightly pushing, lightly pushing, lightly pushing, push harder, squiggle, squiggle. So the more that I push, the more that it's going to get fat. Now, I will tell you about these pens. If you use the tip and you push down on the tip, you will flatten that tip. And we love these pens because they come to a nice point. So instead of pushing straight down on the tip, just push down, kind of angle it like that on your drawing. All right, so we're going to go over our lines. We're going to press as we get to the corners. Press, lift up just a little bit, press, press, lift up just a little bit, press. And you might find your own style for this. Press, lift up. Oop. I just like to heavy up the corners. That's my style. Press, 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 lift, press. Now for the face and the rest of the details, well, I'm going to start with my medium and then I'll probably shift over. So I'm going to go ahead and do these circles really slow, guys. And then if you circle your highlight, you can use this pen to fill in around your highlight. Don't worry if you still have some pencil. We're going to erase that. Smile. And his tongue. For the rest of the details, you can see how they're lighter. So I'm going to do my drawing using my small brush tip. It's just a little bit more narrow. And you can experiment with pressing and not pressing. This is a lighter weight or a thinner brush tip. Great job, guys! After it dries, you can take your eraser, and I like to use the long edge of my eraser in this situation, and then just erase right over it. That pen is not going to erase, but if you did a good job drawing lightly, then your grid is going to go away. And that's the little artist's secret. Perfectly proportioned Kawaii milk container. I'm gonna go ahead and take this off. Look at that, milk and milk carton. Before we leave, let's go ahead and give ourselves a title. I always like to write a little title on the page. So up here, we're going to write Kawaii if you have enough room. I'm going to give myself a little line. I'm using the straight edge of my viewfinder, and I'm going to give myself another line that's going to be the top of my letters. I'm going to erase those, but it's just going to help me. And I'm going to use my large, here it is, my large brush. And I'm going to write Kawaii art. All right, so we spell Kawaii. I'm just going to make regular letters, very simple from top to bottom. Here's a K, A, W, A, I, Kawaii art. Now, this is kind of cool to press a little bit harder on the left and then lighter on the right. I like that a lot. Thin, thick. My small. And erase my lines. There we go. And just because it's fun, I'm going to use my small. Get myself a little kawaii face here. Make my little eyes with circles. Make my highlights. And then, there we go. Great job, guys. If you would like to, you can use your colored pencils to add color to your milk carton.